Newsnight's learned that Pizza Express held its own internal inquiry into ex-Prince Andrew's claim he went to the Woking branch on the date Virginia Giuffre says she was forced to have sex with him. The full story coming up. The Met Police tell Newsnight they can't confirm whether any royal protection officers were at Pizza Express on that date, citing national security. The Lib Dem leader, Sir Ed Davey, says the Met should be transparent to avoid cover-ups. And just hours before the US played Belgium.
Yes, I asked for a review by FIFA.
Outrage as President Trump confirms he did intervene after America's top striker was given a red card. We talked to former Manchester United and Belgium midfielder Marouane Fellaini. Good evening. Welcome to Monday's Newsnight, live from Broadcasting House in London with insight and interviews on the top stories each weeknight. Hello. More on that extraordinary FIFA decision coming up. Let me introduce your panel this evening. Broadcaster and journalist Kay Burley. Labour MP and former Victims Minister Alex Davies-Jones. She resigned in May from Sir Keir Starmer's government. Plus, in a moment, we'll hear from Epstein survivor Lisa Phillips, who's back with us. Tonight, did the former Prince Andrew visit Pizza Express in Woking when he said he did? We've been investigating. In that 2019 Newsnight interview, he was asked whether he recalled meeting and having sex with Virginia Giuffre in 2001. This is what he said.
On that particular day that we now understand is the date, which is the 10th of March, I was at home. I was with the children. I'd taken Beatrice to a Pizza Express in Woking for a party at I suppose, sort of 4 or 5 in the afternoon. And then, because the Duchess was away, we have a simple rule in the family that when one's away, the other one's there. I was on terminal leave at the time from the Royal Navy, so therefore I was at home.
Why would you remember that so specifically? Why would you remember a Pizza Express birthday and being at home?
Because going to Pizza Express in Woking is an unusual thing for me to do. A very unusual thing for me to do. I've only been to Woking a couple of times, and I remember it weirdly distinctly. As soon as somebody reminded me of it, I went, oh yes, I remember that.
Virginia Giuffre, one of the most high-profile accusers of convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein, claimed that she was forced to have sex with Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor in London on that date. She was 17 years old. She said she'd been trafficked by Ghislaine Maxwell. He was now in prison as a convicted sex offender. At the time, she was Epstein's girlfriend. This is what Virginia herself told the BBC.
There was a bath. And it started there, and then it led into the bedroom, and it didn't last very long, the whole entire procedure. It was disgusting. He wasn't mean or anything, but he got up and he said thanks and walked out, and I sat there in bed just horrified and ashamed and felt dirty, and I had to get up and go have a shower.
Previously, the former prince has strenuously denied any wrongdoing. He hasn't responded to our latest request for a statement. Now, Newsnight's learned that Pizza Express held its own internal inquiry into ex-Prince Andrew's claim he went to the Woking branch on that date. We've been told that senior management there looked into the plausibility of Andrew's claim back in 2019 because they believed it was a matter of public interest. The chain concluded that they had no evidence. They found no evidence to suggest Andrew was there. Also, nothing to suggest that he was not. 25 years on, Newsnight's made extensive inquiries to discover whether there is any record of a customer or a staff member having seen Andrew at Pizza Express on that date. Our research has found no record of anyone having seen him there on the 10th of March 2001. Newsnight's also returned to the original 2019 interview and reviewed the recording in light of the Epstein files and the police investigation into Andrew. The vast majority of the Newsnight interview was broadcast, but time constraints meant that a small amount of material didn't make it to air. This included the ex-prince talking in more detail about Pizza Express, including a claim that his staff had looked at a diary to find out more information.
I'd taken Beatrice to a Pizza Express in Woking. This has all been worked out by my staff who've looked at the diary and everything else. The Duchess was away in, I think, in the United States somewhere. And we have a very simple rule that at that stage, the children had one or other of us for most of the, as often as we could. So if one was out, the other one was in. And then occasionally they would have both of us. And on this particular occasion, she was away and I was at home.
We tried other ways to establish whether he went to the restaurant on that date, including making a Freedom of Information request to the Metropolitan Police, asking whether any Royal Protection officers accompanied him there. They told us they could neither confirm nor deny whether they hold such information, citing national security, amongst other reasons. Specifically, they said that confirming or denying that information is held would reveal whether protection had been afforded to a specific individual other than the King and the Prime Minister. However, the Met itself has previously referred to Andrew's close protection officers in a separate press statement issued in February, saying the Met's identifying and contacting former and serving officers who may have worked closely in a protection capacity with Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. The Lib Dem leader, Ed Davey, told us, "I really can't see how revealing that Andrew had police protection 25 years ago would play into the hands of terrorists, as the Met claims." We'll hear from him later. Let's talk now to Lisa Phillips, who is an Epstein survivor and also a friend of Virginia Giuffre. Thank you very much for being with us again, Lisa. Your reaction, first of all, to the fact that the Pizza Express restaurant chain concluded that they found no evidence Andrew was there or wasn't there on that date.
I mean, it's not surprising to me, that they found evidence or not. It was a very long time ago. All I can think about is believing my survivor sister. If you'd like to know, back in that time frame, I saw Virginia Giuffre speak out in 2019. I saw that interview, and that was prior to Epstein's death. And so I kept really quiet about it. After he passed away, I reached out to her because I just had this overwhelming feeling when he had passed away that I just wanted answers. And something had triggered me about that conversation. And I had just remembered back to when I was a young model. And the reason why I had left New York was because I had a girlfriend who had told the exact same story that Virginia told that day. It was the exact same story of Epstein making her go into a room to have sex with a prince. And just like that, saying thank you and walking out, and the disgust that she felt when she ran home and called me and said, "You have to come over right now," and explain to me what had happened. And after that, she just said, "You have no idea who Jeffrey is."
Let me bring in Alex Davis-Jones. Your reaction to what we've found today.
I mean, as Lisa said, right, this happened over 25 years ago, so it's not surprising that they have not found any evidence or not found any evidence to corroborate the former Prince Andrew's claims that he was at this Pizza Express in Woking on the night that Virginia Giuffre claims that he abused her. But there will be people who know whether or not he was there. And that's what we need to find out. We need to uncover the truth, whether that is via the Met Police, whether that is via an independent investigation, whether that's via a public inquiry. There will be people who know the truth and can either corroborate Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor's account, or they can discredit it. And therefore, we need that information one way or another.
Kay Burley, what do you think?
I completely agree. There will be other people that know whether somebody as pompous as Andrew was at Pizza Express that night. And I'm particularly thinking about his close protection officers. Is it really some cause for concern about national security to say what happened 25 years ago when he was going for a thick cross Four Seasons at Pizza Express or not. And as you pointed out in the introduction, already publicly known that the Metropolitan Police has said that they will be looking to speak to some of his close protection officers. Tell us whether he was there or not.
Yeah. I'm going to come back to Ed Davey because I did have a word with him a little earlier. I spoke to him at Westminster. But I want to play you a clip of Amy Wallace. You will know Amy Wallace. She spent years helping Virginia Giuffre write her life story. And Virginia's posthumous memoir, Nobody's Girl, has sold millions of copies around the world. And the two became close friends. And Amy Wallace was asked about the significance of Andrew's original Pizza Express explanation in that Newsnight interview.
It's two different things at once. It's his alibi for why he couldn't have been with Virginia on that night, which she remembered explicitly, going to Tramp's nightclub, meeting him in Ghislaine Maxwell's townhouse and later being sexually trafficked to him. But it also is an explanation for why he's such a good father. I mean, he's not just saying, I couldn't have been there, I was in another location. He's saying, we as a family have a tradition that when one of us is away, the other one tries to stay here, and so we can be with our children. And so it was my night on, basically, and I was being a good father. So it's double-edged in that way.
Kay Burley, you wanted to pick up on that?
He may well be a good father. I don't know. He doesn't seem to see much of the girls at the moment for obvious reasons. But being a good father and having sex on the bathroom floor,
which
he denies, of course, allegedly, I was going to add, doesn't mean that one counters the other. So I want to know more about whether he went to Pizza Express, and then I think that it will start to unravel from there.
OK, well, I did say I had a chat with the Lib Dem leader, Sir Ed Davey, on the Metropolitan Police declining to tell us if bodyguards went with the then Prince Andrew to Woking Pizza Express.
Well, I do understand that on many occasions when you're talking about protection officers and security, the Met Police can't divulge everything. I think we can all accept that. But I'm afraid that that line they've used there, neither confirm or deny, is a way of escaping something that happened 25 years ago, which there cannot be any national security issue at stake. What is at stake is whether or not someone committed a serious offence and allegations against that person. So, I'm sure Mr. Mountbatten-Windsor wants to clear his name, so maybe he can support the idea that free information is properly replied to.
Do you have any concerns about a possible cover-up?
Well, yes. That's why we have argued for a public inquiry into the whole Epstein scandal. And given the serious allegations about how planes were coming in and out of this country, how maybe other parts of the establishment may have been involved, the case for a wider public inquiry into the Epstein scandal and how the UK was involved, I think is now unanswerable. Yes, it could answer this particular question, but it could answer many more. And I think we owe the victims of Epstein that hearing, that justice, and to get the answers.
And Alex Davis-Jones, you too want a public inquiry. Some people question that. Why do you want a public inquiry into what Epstein did in this country? What's your response to that?
Because we need the truth. We need to uncover exactly who knew what when. And if the only way to do that is to compel witnesses, potentially close protection officers and others, to find out what they knew and when, then that's the only way we're going to get the truth. And that's what I've been pushing the Attorney General, the Chief Secretary to the Prime Minister and the Prime Minister on, is so that we can get these answers and get the truth.
And actually in PMQs last Wednesday, you asked the Sir Keir Starmer, who is still the Prime Minister, you asked him to meet survivors like Lisa. He said, I will make sure the meeting you have requested is set up. Is that going to happen before he leaves office?
Unlikely.
Unlikely?
Very unlikely. I spoke to Number 10 today regarding arrangements for the meeting with Lisa and the other British survivors who have requested this meeting with him for a number of reasons, because he was the Prime Minister who appointed Peter Mandelson as the ambassador to the US, and I believe the survivors deserve an apology directly from him for that appointment and the mistake that was made there. They also deserve to hear from him directly as the Prime Minister regarding the next steps. However, as as you've said, he only has 2 more weeks left in office during his tenure. He is at NATO this week. So I was told that his diary is unlikely to be able to accommodate a meeting with Lisa and the British survivors. We were offered a meeting with the Victims Minister.
It's just not acceptable. It's not acceptable.
With all due respect to Minister Atkinson, the Victims Minister, it is the Prime Minister who these survivors deserve to speak to. If number 10 Downing Street was good enough to host Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell with Prime Ministers at the time, now granted it was Tony Blair, it wasn't Keir Starmer, but that building and the Prime Minister of our country was good enough to host them, it is good enough for the survivors of their abuse and trafficking to sit in that building and meet with the Prime Minister of our country.
And I was in the House and he looked up at me as he said he would meet with me.
Yeah.
Right in that moment, and then now he says that, he's too busy to.
How do you feel about that, Lisa?
Well, I mean, I'm the voice of the survivors. They're looking at me, and that my campaign manager, even reaching out to him, he's like answering us back, actually wrote a letter back to me and then said my doors are open. And then the next day resigned.
No, I know. Yeah, I don't want it to look like we've just given him a 2-week window either.
Right.
Lisa and the other survivors have been reaching out to the Prime Minister and number 10 for a long time now to ask for this meeting.
Can I ask you, Lisa, why would other UK survivors come forward when it appears that you have statements from the Met that won't tell us this, or you have people who've gone to the Met in the past and they declined to investigate? Why would they come forward now?
Well, you're right. Right now, we have the support of members of Parliament, politicians that are standing with us, like Alex Dave Jones and Ed Davey have been really supportive, and many others. And with that support, that's good for them to come forward. They have now people that will listen to them and support them. When before they went to the Met Police, they didn't have that support. It's been many years that they've gone there and been turned away and denied and not believed. So I really believe like this is the time to get the support that they've always wanted.
Do you have any idea how many of those survivors of Epstein's ring there might be in the UK?
Well, we think there's many of them.
Right. And there will be a new Prime Minister in a couple of weeks. It's likely to be Andy Burnham. Have you had contact with his team?
Yes, we have. Yeah, and he's been very supportive.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
And that offer has been made for Lisa and the British survivors to meet with him should he become Prime Minister. Regardless of if he becomes Prime Minister, his team have offered to meet with Lisa and the other British survivors.
Okay. Well, as I said, we went back to the 29 interview of Andrew in the light of the Epstein files and in the light of his arrest in February on suspicion of misconduct in public office. We've retrieved 3 short clips previously on broadcast. We're going to show you them now. Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor has denied any wrongdoing. In the first clip, he's asked about what Virginia Giuffre says happened at Ghislaine Maxwell's house in London in March 2001, where she claimed the abuse began in the bathroom before moving to the bedroom.
She says she had sex with you on the bathroom floor in that house.
I've never been into the bathroom, so I don't know.
Did she mistake spending an evening with a senior member of a royal family?
Quite possibly.
Do you think she's lying or confused?
I'm afraid to say I don't know. And I'm not in a position to be able to answer that question.
On the same evening, Virginia Giuffre said, I'm just going to tell you that everybody here is kind of sighing in resignation or whatever. You can describe your own feelings in a moment. But on the same evening, Virginia Giuffre said the former prince had danced with her at Tramp nightclub and he'd been sweating profusely. In the Newsnight interview, he said it was almost impossible for him to sweat because of an overdose of adrenaline during the Falklands when he was shot at while he was serving. The next clip gives more detail.
In 82, it was the second attack, and I remember seeing a shell being fired from a ship, and I remember it being on a steady bearing for a period of time, and that whilst you're flying a helicopter and you're looking out of the window and you see, as it were, not quite your death, but you see it coming towards you, that was the point at which I as it were, I had what I would describe as the most amazing adrenaline rush, because I knew that what I was supposed to do was to turn towards it. But your reaction is actually to turn away from it rather than to turn towards it, because what you do is you close the bearing, which therefore means that it will probably miss you. And actually, when it got to a point about halfway, I suddenly started seeing what was on a steady bearing start to open. So I knew it wasn't going to hit me, but at that stage, I'd had enough adrenaline pumping through me to last me a lifetime.
Finally, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor gives an explanation as to why he was no longer the UK Special Representative on Trade. You may remember he held the role between 2001 and 2011, giving him privileged access to senior government and business contacts right around the world. He stepped down from the role in 2011 amid scrutiny over his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor has always rejected any wrongdoing in his associations with Epstein and denied any personal gain from his role as trade envoy. This is what he said to Newsnight in 2019.
So after I finished with my time as special representative, and that was because we wanted to try and spread the load a bit, because it was too much on me, and our responsibility as a family is to support the UK and support what the UK does around the world. It was getting too much like one person was doing it. So we tried to spread the load so that other people took it on.
Lisa, your response to some of those?
I just feel like he's trying to direct everyone to think he's a great father, he's a great war hero, and trying to spin the story instead of just sticking to, answering the questions.
It just doesn't seem credible. I think anyone watching that would think the same, that it doesn't seem or sound credible in any way.
Okay, Berlin.
Sex on the bathroom floor. Only 4 people know what happened in that house. One of them is dead. One of them is in prison. One of them sadly took her own life. And by all accounts, the other one is lumbering around Sandringham, banging doors. He needs to explain what happened.
We've also had a statement from Skye and Amanda Roberts, Virginia Giuffre's brother and sister-in-law. And they tell us this: under thorough and vigorous investigation, the truth will come to light. As Virginia once said, he knows what happened, I know what happened, and only one of us is telling the truth. We thank BBC Newsnight for continuing its research into Mountbatten-Windsor's alibis, and we are confident that further search will only continue to prove our sister right. If there are people watching who are survivors, how can they get in touch? I mean, they can contact us. We'll pass it on to you. It's newsnight@bbc.co.uk, but that's what you're calling for this evening.
Absolutely. That's what I would love, is for my survivor sisters here to get in touch with me. I believe it. Should I say on my website? Okay. On my website, it's iamlisaphillips.com.
And likewise, anyone can come forward. We already have had, as a result of us speaking out, survivors coming forward claiming that they were also victims of Epstein, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, and Ghislaine Maxwell. So we would encourage anyone, please, if you've got any information, to come forward to us.
And these are British?
They
women.
are British, yeah.
Okay.
And we should accept that he was a war hero. We should just throw that in.
Thank you, Alex Davis-Jones. Lisa Phillips, thank you very much for being with us this evening. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.